It's not COVID-19, but some experts now warn another major threat to the Bay Area is growing every day, and it's being made worse by the pandemic. We discovered COVID has sickened budgets and timelines meant to deal with our rising sea levels. Here's Senior Investigator Stephen Stock.
Experts say time is running out. According to this report put out just this summer by the Legislative Analyst Office in Sacramento, California could see $8 to $10 billion in property flooded, put underwater by 2050 if something's not done. We discovered that the COVID crisis has delayed many projects meant to address the rising seas.
If we don't start very soon, we're going to be in a world of hurt.
Jack Liebster showed us around one of the most pristine and sought-after pieces of property in Marin County, STINSON Beach. If we don't do anything, what happens?
The water's going to come in the front door.
Listed by the National Park Service as one of the best swimming beaches in all of Northern California with beachfront property values in the millions, STINSON Beach is also one of the most vulnerable locations in the Bay Area to the unrelenting rise in sea levels.
This beach, STINSON Beach, it'll be gone. A lot of it would be underwater.
It all came flowing in from here.
Across the Marin headlands and down the peninsula in Redwood City, Ellen Rook and her family deal with flooding nearly every winter in Lamar Mobile Home Park, which sits right on the edge of the bay. Though this area has flooded with heavy rain since the 1990s, historical maps from the Federal Emergency Management Agency show the flood risk directly from the bay has increased significantly with rising sea levels.
It's always living on edge. You don't know if you're going to wake up and you're flooded.
Flooding here could soon be not only every winter, but year-round. While older scientific models show a gradual sea level increase in recent decades, the latest satellite data shows seas rising exponentially around the Bay Area. That puts this entire mobile home park several inches underwater by 2030 if something isn't done, and soon. What are you going to do if the water comes, or when the water comes?
I really don't know what we're going to do. I don't swim. I guess get a boat and float out.
Along 400 miles of Bay Area shoreline, we found more than a dozen projects that were meant to slow, stop, or protect against the rising tides, now put on hold or delayed, all because of the COVID crisis and its economic impact. Projects that have been delayed or halted include exploring ways to prevent frequent floods on Highway 1 in Marin County by elevating the roadway and buildings and creating artificial reefs and seawalls. Protecting water treatment plants in San Rafael, in one case by replacing an outdated levee with a new environmentally friendly one. And the multi-year, multi-million-dollar South Bay Salt Ponds Restoration Project, the largest tidal wetlands effort on the West Coast, meant to absorb rising sea levels. While some planning work continues, most construction has stalled.
We can't afford to lose a week, a day, certainly not a year or two.
Warner Chabot is executive director of the San Francisco Estuary Institute.
This is probably going to rob us of 1 to 2 years out of that critical 10-year window because local governments are simply going to be cash-strapped.
Does that worry you?
It terrifies me. I mean, we have an enormous challenge ahead of us.
A challenge that currently has no long-term funding thanks to the high cost of the COVID crisis. A $4.7 billion bond meant to address the issue statewide, pulled by Governor Gavin Newsom. Yet another law proposed by San Mateo Assemblyman Kevin Mullen would have protected important assets like Highway 101, Caltrain, BART lines, and local residential communities from flooding due to sea level rise.
This is going to be a huge challenge that is going to take resources at the local level, the regional level, the state level.
But Mullen's bill was shot down this fall, all due to a lack of funding.
COVID may have such an economic impact that there won't be a lot of resources down the line.
That means more delays as time runs out for residents like Ellen and Denise.
They can't just let us sit here and, and guys just float away with the water.
Experts say because of the shrinking tax base, because of the economic crisis due to COVID, there just isn't enough money to do many of the projects that were meant to begin now to address the rising seas. And experts also worry that by the time the tax base recovers in 1 or even 2 or 3 years, it may be too late. I'm Stephen Stock, NBC Bay Area News.
Interesting reporting. Thank you, Stephen. If you have a story tip for Stephen Stock or anyone else in our investigative unit, give us a call. You see the information on your screen, 1-888-996-TIPS, or you can visit our website, nbcbayarea.com/investigation.